Incredible greetings, everyone. How art thou? Hello, hello, hello. Incredible greetings, peeps. All right, so let's see here. Let's see. Um, All right, I gotta try and get this up. It's been so long since I've used like the main banner. I had gone away from that. Any time y'all to see me like um, looking down at my phone, trying to share all this out. And I always forget I have these resources via StreamYard where I can put the banner on and I don't have to look crazy. I can put the music on and things of that nature. So, um, hold on. There we go. Yeah. So, hello, hello, hello. Incredible greetings, all. How are you guys doing? Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. All right, let me try and find my feed on my phone. Hold on. Wait, I'm trying to lower this. I don't want the sound. I just want the video feed so I can see everything. Alrighty, and now let's take the oh goodness, the overlay off. Hello, how art thou? And we're on that one. Incredible greetings. Long time no see, no long time no speak. It's been a little minute since my last one, and I was on a call this morning teaching about like launching and preparing, whether it's like going to be for sales or you're launching a new website and things of that nature. And I was showing them um, the number of times I was going live back in the day. When people ask, they always start and I talk about going live, people say, well, how often were you going live? And I was like, every single day, multiple times per day. So to be able to look at that and see, like, for any given day, like I was live 3 times in one day, 2 times in one day. I think one of them was like 4 times in one day. Hour here, hour and a half there, another hour. I was doing different demos and things of that nature. Like I was going live back to 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 back. The algorithm was probably sick of me back then. Don't really do it in that particular like cadence anymore, but I do like to kind of show up live every now and then, and in the hopes that um I catch somebody right as they're about to pull out the rest of the edges that they have. They're very, very frustrated, whether it's with a cameo machine, if it's with, let me see, this shirt has DTF on it. So if you had an issue with DTF, I think this is something that has sublimation on it. What is this? Yeah, this is my jacket. This is my honestly speaking jacket that has my QR code on one of these sleeves. I think it's this one. Yep. So people, I went to an expo with this and people were able to scan it. Although I wish I would have done it smaller. Definitely should have done it a little bit smaller. It's easier to scan when it's smaller. At this size, let me see. Is this even scanning anymore? Hold on. Like at one point it was giving me a hard time. Um, yeah, it's actually giving me a hard time, but it worked initially. I really wish I would have made it smaller because see there it goes. I had to make it really flat and it brings up my link tree. But because it was so big and like the curvature of my arm or if it's bent, it didn't fully read. So in hindsight, like if I was to ever do it again on a jacket, I definitely would make that QR code small. We think that, oh, it needs to be bigger for people to see it and be able to scan it. No, if it's too big, more likely that it will shift from just like your body and things of that nature. It's actually better smaller where it can be moved to an area that's kind of flat. It's not going to curve and warp and all that stuff, and it's going to be easier to scan. So I come on these, in the hopes that for somebody, I'm right on time because you had a question. I love to share my 2 decades of experience from everything from like the business side and branding and marketing and websites and figuring out digital products, AI, sublimation, all of the party favorite stuff, silhouette, Cricut, printers, like all the things. Like I come on to share all of the things. Um, so, hello, Excel Media Designs. How art thou? Welcome and thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for commenting. Michelle, incredible morning. Jay Morales, hello, hello, hello. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Oh, let me go to the one over here. Ooh. All right. Tanya, hello, hello. Welcome in, everyone. Thank you guys so very much for joining. Hopefully, you guys have some questions for me. Maybe you were just about to ask a question in a group or something, or you were searching something online and you were just inquiring and wondering. It can be something about, maybe your options for social, like how to navigate social media, um, how to get monetized. Well, I don't know. I think I took the long way to get monetized. Um, so yeah. So we have a question. I do have a question. I have a 15,000 with pigment ink. I can't get it to print bright enough. Any advice? You're never going to get it to print bright enough because it's not meant for pigment ink. So unfortunately, uh, um, it's just not going to give you what you're looking for. Give me 1 second, y'all. It is hot. I'm guessing because it's on a timer, the air conditioner has like cycled off. Give me 1 second. Yeah, that bad boy had don't jump down to what is it called? 79. So I've done a few videos before kind of breaking this down. The 15,000. is a printer that is meant for dye ink. Dye ink is way different than pigment. It looks dark. It's not like the bright colors. A lot of people want the properties of pigment ink because it's naturally water resistant. No matter what surface you put it on, the paper doesn't have to be coated in order to use the pigment ink. Blacks come out so much richer, which is why some of the printers, like the 8550, there is the black that is dye, but they also have photo black, and photo black simply is pigment ink because it gives you actual true blacks. When I'm printing from just my Canon printers and I'm printing out blacks, they come out sometimes kind of grayish, sometimes like a little purplish sometimes because of the way the dye ink interacts like with glossy paper. But if I had one where I can put photo black in, it comes out a lot different. Because you put that in there, your colors are going to be duller because it's meant to mix dye ink, which this looks almost black. It's not meant to mix pigment ink that is an actual color. You can't get this to be bright in a printer that wants to process this. Make sense? The colors are gonna they're gonna be off a little bit. I don't have, I think I deleted the video, but I did that once where I put inside of one of the smaller Epson printers the pigment ink, and I was showing how different and how dark the colors were. I don't know where that, I don't remember where that video is. I don't remember what it was titled, but it was years ago. And I did that experiment. I sacrificed a printer for you guys. But I mean, that's one of the reasons why, like, I repeat that. Some people, like my husband used to get on me. He's like, why do you keep saying the same things over and over? And I'm like, some people didn't hear it the first time when I said it. And I'm like, if I could, hopefully, unfortunately with you, I wasn't able to help you avoid that mistake. But I'm like, if I keep repeating it, it'll help someone avoid making that mistake. Y'all, to know me and to love me and to be on this, like, I talked about printers and ink all the time. I would geek out and we would be on here an hour breaking down. I'm showing the difference between dye ink and pigment ink and sublimation ink and why this printer works better than this. This is why your colors on your 15,000 with sublimation, your reds look orange, your purples look blue, or vice versa, whatever, because you are putting a pigmented ink in a printer that's meant to process dye inks. So I love those questions. Love a good question about printers. My lips are dry. Let me find my lip gloss so my lips can be popping. My lip gloss is cool. How long ago did you put the pigment ink inside of the 15,000? Did you immediately just start with putting pigment ink in there, or did you start with the Epson ink first and then put pigment ink in the printer? All right, I see quite a few more people have come on. How you guys doing? Drop a hey, how you doing in the chat. Let me know where you're watching from. This is kind of an open, I mean, I don't mind having like a full-on lesson or discussion. I just need you guys to give me what you want to discuss. I mean, it's been a minute. I've been in other spaces just kind of teaching on entrepreneurship in general, not directly related to anything creative or crafty and things of that nature. So I feel a little rusty, a little out of practice. I'm not really into a lot of the trends and things that you guys do because it's not my primary. Like, I make money off of like doing kind of like the standard insane things. Like, I just did an order for stickers and I'll make like game booklets. I'm pretty standard with the things that I make, although I have the ability to make a lot of different things. I'm pretty standard. I haven't gotten into the whole 3D. I don't have a desire to get a 3D printer. MJ wanted one. I'm not sure if he still wants one. I know, but he wanted one. I'm just not into like the 3D printing right now. Um, so I do feel a little out of the loop. I use AI, don't get me wrong. May not use it exactly how you guys use it, but doesn't mean that I can't help you and guide you through, like if you have questions in regards to it. So even if you don't have a question per se, if there's something that you've wondered about, if there's something that you just kind of want to hear my perspective on and my breakdown of it, feel free to go ahead and drop that in the comment section, okay? So from the beginning and opening print, what made you want to put pigment ink in that printer versus the ink that came with it? Hello, Phyllis. How art thou? Welcome, welcome. Tapping in from Houston, Texas. Knowing it was waterproof. Okay. What type of paper, like what do you print to? What are you printing on? What kind of paper? What are you using it for one, and what type of paper are you printing on? Okay, I see another one here. What do you think about? Oh, wait, wrong one. What do you think about the UV printers? Okay, let me see. To be honest, I only run it to make sure it doesn't get clogged. But I was listening. Well, I was intending to use it for stickers. Okay, tell you a little secret. Okay, I'm not sure how long you've had the printer. If you want to take the time to like some people have had success with trying to drain it. Doing that with EcoTank printers can be a little bit tricky. But for anyone else who may be listening, and although pigment ink is waterproof, you have to use an actual pigment ink printer in order to get the amazing colors. Because I even showed, are they right there? Hold on, let me see. Are those it? Don't get me wrong, they give great results. I think these are it. Some of you guys may have seen. Oh gosh. I did this whole lesson and demonstration of pigment versus dye. I almost bust my behind, y'all. Oh gosh. Okay. So okay, it's these. Alrighty. This is pigment ink from my Epson printer. I have a Canon one that is pigment. It's only a small format. It doesn't give me the same color output as the Epson. Because Epsons have a piezo electric print head, the way the ink comes out, the colors are so much smoother and richer from the Epson than the Canon. But Epson be giving too many issues, okay? And then there's only one large format Epson printer that is pigment ink, which costs $1,000. And I think that's why some people are trying to figure out alternatives, because that printer is very expensive. The 16600 or the 16650, which is $1,100, they're pretty pricey. And so most people aren't really interested in getting that, especially if they're starting out. But that's going to be your best option, since we no longer have the like 7710, 7720s. Yes, there's the 7820s and the 7840s, but they use the long cartridges. You can't really do refillables for those because there's no auto reset chips that you can just simply reset. You still end up having to buy new chips or buy new cartridges, so it's just not worth it. The option would be the EcoTank, but it's pricey. So you just have to decide if you're willing to pay that $1,000. But look here, right? So these are both glossy um, sticker sheets. So when you're saying you want to do stickers, so these are full wraps. These are glossy sticker sheets. This was printed with the Epson 7720. This was printed with my Canon, which is a dye ink. This would still be the equivalent of an Epson ET 8550. Although the black might come out a little bit different because the ET 8550 does have a photo black ink. So your black might come out a little bit different. But for sure, your 15,000, your 2800s, 2803s, 47, like all of those printers, they are dye-based printers. So if you look at the black on this, you see this is the Epson, the true pigment. This is the dye-based one. Do you see the difference where this almost looks purplish? And then also over time with these stickers, the color starts to bleed on the glossy ones, on certain areas. And so you can even see like in here, all of these where it's black, that color started to bleed. You don't get that with a true pigment ink printer. Well, even if with pigment ink, you wouldn't, well, those are thermal, not thermal, those are like, they're not thermal like Rolos, but they use heat. How it works, it uses heat, so you may still have it, but there's a big difference. So this is glossy, right? This is matte sticker sheets. Same exact sticker sheets, just a different printer. See how this is still rich, even though it's matte. It's different from the shiny one. This one is glossy. Wait, hold on. This one is glossy. This one is matte. It's still rich colors. Whereas the dye-based one, you can really see like on matte, it doesn't quite look purple. It looks grayish or ashy. That's the downside of a dye-based printer when it comes to large areas of black. Now, when you're just doing text, because it's so small, it will seem like it's all black. You don't really notice it as much. But when you do larger areas, it's more evident in how those inks differ. Okay? So, while the color is a benefit, when you are doing stickers, even with the matte ones, these are coated. If you're using a photo paper, they are coated. So even with the dye-based ink, it will be water resistant. This right here, although it sucks because the color started to bleed on this, and I did this, these are probably like a year and a half old when I did this demonstration. And I'm not sure when it started to bleed. That's still waterproof. If you put water on it, it's not going to run because you're using photo paper. Now, if you were to print to your standard copy paper, it is going to run unless you got like HP. They have a color lock paper. It's coated. It feels like your standard paper. It's a little bit heavier, but it's called color lock. So if you were doing like, I'm about to give y'all some major game, okay? And know that you heard it here. Other folk not telling you this. They're not talking about it. I promise you they're not. But y'all never like to give me credit, so I'm not even worried about it. If you're doing like chip bags, a lot of people like to do the glossy and things of that nature. But if you're getting like the double-sided glossy, not sure if you guys ever noticed, it's harder to seal and stay sealed when it comes to glue guns. And you'll press it, but it'll seem like it just comes apart, and the glue is like you almost can peel it off because of that coating. Or if then you have to end up using double-sided tape, but then it's harder to crimp. If you use the color lock, the colors are also amazing, but it's matte. It's better for taking pictures, and you can use that with your dye-based printer. You don't have to worry about if it got wet, if it's going to run, because it has technology in it that's going to lock those dye that dye ink in. So look into HP's Color Lock um, for that option. Okay. And outside of that, like I said, any actual photo paper, it's going to be waterproof. Even the sticker paper is going to be waterproof anyway. Yeah. So when you're going to do that, as far as like letting it run, they always say it's very dangerous to let it run and run prints once it get past like that little arrow. The best thing that you can do is once it gets low, you want to put in just a little bit. Don't put it on there and let the whole thing drain. You may even want to consider, we still have syringes and needles. You may want to consider getting that because you'll pull the ink out a little bit and just put it into it. Don't just dump the whole bottle. And then you're going to continue to print that so that you're never having the line where it's completely like completely drained and take that risk. So if you just put a little bit and you're running it, eventually all of that pigment ink will be gone because at one, it's going to end up being mixed with pigment ink and dye ink. But eventually, all that pigment ink is going to kind of go. So if as long as you keep like letting it run and you're adding, or okay, no, better way of doing it when you get to, uh, when you get down to where it's really, really low, you may want to run purge files. This is where purge files really are useful and they're beneficial because it's going to pull out just those because it's not mixing them together. So you may have to run a couple of them. Just take that same paper. It's better to use a cardstock because it can take more ink. You can take that same paper. You're just gonna you don't have to keep using different papers. Let it just keep running that same one to purge it out. Just keep adding a little bit of dye ink into it. Purge it out. It might take you a while to do it, but if you're really, really wanting to, just have a half a day and you're just going to print it to kind of purge that out. And then eventually, after so many, you can just go ahead and put all of the dye ink in because you would have filtered out without ever drying out or removing all of the ink out of your lines because that can cause backflow and that's harder to correct. So little by little, just keep printing it to get it out using purge files on like the highest setting so that it can put out more ink and eventually you'll have all of the dye ink in there little by little. That's the best way that I would recommend doing. If I had to do it, that's the way that I would do it. Okay. All right. So let's go. You are very welcome. So glad to be able to help. All right. So let's go back up here. What do I think about the UV printers? I've been into UV for a while. Like the way, okay, let me back up real quick, right? Because I want to tell you like how where I find the benefit at, but I want to first know for you, what are you seeing out there as far as how UV printers are being utilized? What are you seeing being made? What's being printed on? Things of that nature. Before I get into it. So I want, if you're still on, hopefully you're still on, because you're saying, what do I think about UV printers? But it can be used for so many things. So what are you considering either outsourcing from a UV, somebody that has a UV printer or getting one yourself? You know, what are you considering like creating from it? Or when you think about it, like you can print on what? You have any questions about can I print on this media versus, this one, X, Y, and Z? So answer that for me and then I'll tell you what I think about UV printers. Hey, Aquisha, thank you so much for supporting from, oh no, I thought it was multiple platforms. You're just saying hello and dropping the peacocks. Hello, hello, welcome. All right, so help. I printed an image to my Epson 15,000 sublimation printer. The image printed out correctly, but when I press it, the image came out another color. What do I need to do? I need to know exactly what was supposed to print. What color did it turn out to be after you pressed it? Hey Sherry, how are you? Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for tapping in and commenting and let us know that you're watching. All right. So while I'm waiting on your response, Brenda Lynn Smith says, "Good morning. I printed an image to my sublimation printer. It printed pink, which is the right color, but when I went to press it, it came out orange. What do I need to do?" Is that the same person? Hold on. What was the person's name over here? Oh, it's the same person. Okay, cool beans. Haha. I happened to come back and see it. So it was the image is pink, but it came out orange. First thing that you should all, but see, the fact that it came out pink is, ooh, um, it can be kind of tricky. Did you use, okay, was this a color that you selected? Like, what program did you use for one? That's an important one. What program did you use? Did you select and fill the color in? Or was it from like an AI generated image? Was it an image that you pulled offline? Was it pink within somebody's clothing, like from a photograph? These are all very, very, very important, like, answers that I need to kind of figure out where the issue happened at. Okay, so you did it in Canva. Did you select the color, or was it a design that already had the color? From AI, okay? All right. All right. One of the things that I'm always going to recommend, I'm going to pull the link for you. If you've never gotten it from us, I highly recommend that y'all get the color chart, okay? Hold on. Especially if you're filling in the colors. Uh, color chart. All right, how to use color chart. Okay. Okay, it already had the color. So this doesn't really or fully help when it already has the color. Um, but I'm going to drop it anyway because this is a good thing to have. So when we give it to you, you're going to be able to print out individual ones, but there's also one where they're all on it. You can put it on a tumbler, you can put it on fabric or whatever. You need to take this color chart and print it out and sublimate it. Okay, whatever print settings you use. This is what you will reference when you want a particular color. And you can look at this and say, I want it to be this shade of pink. You're then going to put in that hex code. Like on the tumbler, I can't see it. But if I now also reference, which I actually just had it up here. Oh, here they are. I print these out. When I say I print out color charts, every single printer that I use, even when I outsource, the companies that I outsource to, I send them my color chart for them to print out because every printer is different. So I'll use like these. The color might look different from this to my tumbler, but I'm going to use this and say, oh, okay, this was the color that I wanted. I can't see the hex code on this, but I can see it on here. Oh, okay, that was FF4081. I'm going to go into Canva. I'm going to go into Solar Studio. I'm going to go into Cricut Design Space. I'm going to go into Photoshop. I'm going to go into Photo P. I'm going to go into Affinity, whatever it is where I can select the color. I'm going to put in that hex code. This also even has RGB values. I'm going to put that value in. It may look crazy on the screen. That's okay. Because if I want to send it as like a mock-up, I'll duplicate it. I'll change the color so that my client can see, a color that's closer to it. But I want the one that I print to be the exact color code that I need it to be. It may look crazy on the screen. Know that it might look crazy. But once it's printed and pressed, there's going to be no guesswork to it. Now, when you are using files that you don't put the color in on, you don't know what hex code that designer used. We have to remember that we are putting inside of a printer that is meant to use dye ink. It's dark. you are putting in, although it's kind of hard to tell with cyan, you would think this kind of looks the same, but it really isn't. This is a lighter ink. I wish I can show. I don't have a yellow or a magenta dye ink to show the difference right now, but they're not the same. Sublimation ink is closer to the way pigment ink is, so your colors are going to be off. So when you don't have that exact color code, when you go to press it, the color shift, because when it's heat activated, it's gonna shift the color. Um, that happens often. That happens a lot of times with reds. They end up looking orange. Royal blue, purples look bluish, and sometimes blue stuff looks purple. When it comes to greens, like it'll print weird, and then it's supposed to be teal, but it looks like once it subs, it looks more green. This is common whenever you are using converted printers. Okay, this is a very, very, very common issue. It's not just you. You're not doing anything wrong. It's just how it works. And you can adjust your settings, but know that as you adjust certain colors to, like, maybe you need to add more reds when you're going into the print settings. Well, when you go and do that, you could be affecting other colors. You can play around with the adjustments of the actual image in like Canva Studio, and you're changing and messing around with the hue. Again, you take the chance of it messing with other colors. So it could be simply it's the wrong hex code. Nothing you can do about it, especially if it's not something that you can change the color on. The other thing would be to check the nozzle check, because maybe one of the colors is missing. So it's printing out one way but pressing a different one because it doesn't have enough of that other color that makes it look that way once it's pressed. So whenever you have color mismatch, the first thing that you should always, always, always do is a nozzle check to make sure that all of the colors are fully shown. Now, if you've got a couple of breaks here and there, it's not a big deal. If you're missing whole sections, it's a big deal. You will know if it's just spotty because on your print, it will be spotty. You can always, like, trust me, you can tell when something is spotty as far as color or if it's completely missing. You want to check that. If all of that checks out, then it becomes a hex code issue. And if it's not something that you can change the color on, you're just kind of stuck because it is a converted printer. That is the unfortunate downside of converted printers and AI, because AI is not really adhering to color codes. A lot of people think it does, and you'll hear people say, oh, tell it this and put in this hex code. I've done the testing, and it doesn't always, like, it'll pick something similar. It is not the exact hex code, and they can't give you an exact hex code for your printer, the type of paper you're printing to, the type of ink you're printing with. With these, let me see if I have, let me see. Uh-oh. Where is the matte one? Oh, and it's on the back of this. Look at this, and then look at this. Do you see how different those colors? Those look brown. On this side, they give burgundy and maroon. It's a big difference. We look at, even with these two, they're both technically on matte paper. The colors of these, like that maroon and burgundy, they're different. The blue is slightly different. Some of the tones, especially here at the top, they're not identical. You can see how bright this is and what this color looks like. And it's because it's a different paper. Same ink, same settings, different paper. This is a glossy sticker sheet. Colors look way different. So even when you have a hex code, it may not give you the exact results that you want. Like if AI is giving you and saying, you put it in and say, okay, I want this particular hex code, it'll output it, but it still may not because it doesn't really know the ink, the paper, and the settings that you're printing to. Make sense? Yeah, so you can print out the color chart, but the color chart is only helpful when you are filling in the color code yourself. So in your case, because you did the purge sheet, all the colors are printing, never print a purge sheet. That's a waste of ink. Always do a nozzle check first, not a purge. A nozzle check doesn't put it, some people say, oh, don't do those. Oh, like if you do a nozzle check and you say, oh, something is broken, and you tell it, yes, it's broken, and now it runs a print head cleaning, that is putting ink in your waste tank. I see that all the time in groups, and I'm like, y'all are wrong. Printing a nozzle check is always a good thing. It should always be the first thing that you do. It doesn't mean that you're automatically going to waste ink. It's not going to automatically fill your waste tank. Because let's say if it comes out good, you just hit the one that says, oh, everything's A-okay. It's going to go back to regular where you're ready to like do your next print. But always do the nozzle check first. But the fact that although the fact that both the nozzle check and a purge file were fine, it's the actual image itself. And there's nothing that you can really do about it other than playing around with it. And you'll just print them out small, and you'll do a test print and then press it. Do another test print with adjustments. I do that literally all the time. It's very rare that I'm going to press something before I have done a test print and pressed it to something to just see the color. I had a shirt down here. Is it still down here? No. I don't know where it went. I've been cleaning up, but I literally just had. Oh wait, is this it? Yeah. So some colors were coming out weird. I kept pressing it, and like, see, this one was really messed up, and I kept pressing it until I finally got the right color. And then I did like a test of that's a one. Um, this one I forgot. Oh, I think it was a stain on it when I did this one. It came out purple, it was like a stain on it. But there's a test print there. And then I adjusted some things. There's another test print here. I'm always going to test before I try to always test before I put it on my final substrate. And, I just find little spots. Like with this one, I mean, I still got shoulders. I got areas in here that I can print to or press to, like in here. Eventually I'll get to a point where I'll cut this up and use this piece as a test strip. But I'm going to test. I'm going to test, and I'm going to test, and I'm going to test. All right, so I'm thinking about creating products for metal, wood, ceramics. What product sells the best in your opinion? There is no such thing as a product that sells the best because it's based off of your market. If there are some folk who they sell, case of my cousin, she was using her UV printer to print directly to tambourines. She had a strong church like family like base, like in like faith base and stuff like that. And so she started printing to tambourines. And some people saw it. Now they want custom things, whether it's the church logo on it. Some people wanted family pictures on it. Some people wanted their own business. They in church still promoting their business. But she became known as like the lady that can print anything onto a tambourine. So there is no best thing to sell. What does your audience, what does your market, what do your customers need? When I originally wanted the UV printers, I wanted to be able to print directly to acrylic. There are some companies that print with a UV printer directly to coroplast, directly to foam board. I don't like the way that images look when you print directly to the coroplast with a UV printer. I can't stand it. I rather print via a solvent or Eagle solvent printer to vinyl and then use my cold laminator to adhere the vinyl to the coroplast or the foam board. But I love it for being able to print onto acrylic. My cousin made earrings. I know, what's her name? Pasquale. She was making earrings with her laser cutter and cutting the acrylic and then being able to print directly to them. People do that for keychains. You have those who make wedding invitations and they're printing directly to acrylic or wood and things of that nature. So it just really depends. I like it for those things. When I wanted one, I wanted it mainly to print to acrylic, like for acrylic signs. I did events and parties. So I wanted to make like my table numbers and put the couple's pictures on it, things of that nature. Would I use it or have like, it's like, because it's more a specific one for like the UV printing. Although you can still do it. You just won't do roll to roll. You're doing it on sheets and then you have to, with like the code, she explained to me like how you do it when it's not the roll to roll UV printer for stickers. You can do it like on the regular flatbed as well. I probably wouldn't, or maybe if I did it, it would be just for like myself. Would I outsource and sell sticker sheets and things like that? If I had to use a flatbed, no, because that takes up more time and you wouldn't be able to pump it out compared to the roll to roll where it's doing all of that and kind of putting that backing on all that thing, like all kind of like, automatically like in one pass. So I wouldn't sell stickers if I had that, but if I had to make some for myself, like for a party, and I just wanted to make some custom mugs, I probably would use it for that. You just have to know what you want to use it for. If you're saying wood and you are already selling things with wood, but you're having to outsource it, you may want to. Or you're like, well, I don't want to just put stickers on. People like it, they don't really complain, but I don't want to have to put stickers on this. Or maybe right now you're using the wood that's coated for sublimation. The outside is the wood, but the top part has the coating for sublimation. You have to do sublimation. You rather do directly to wood because now you can use different types of wood. It doesn't have to be the sublimation one. That will justify you either getting a UV printer if you have the space for it and you're actually going to use it to avoid like clogging, or if you're going to find someone to outsource it for you because you want to provide this quality of product. Just really depends. But as far as the benefit of UV printers, they serve a major purpose. Do I feel like everyone needs to invest in one? Absolutely the heck no. How long does the ink last that has not been used yet? I brought ink March of 2025. Ink really, I mean, they'll say like 18 months, 24 months, but ink really doesn't have a major shelf life to where it's not going to print as bright. People think, oh, you let it sit too long, it's just not going to print as bright. No, it's not. It's not going to separate into like water. It really doesn't. I mean, they say like to not have it sit 18, 24 months, but it doesn't really have a shelf life. Yay! I love it when people get ideas from, because I'm an idea person. I'm literally, that is my gift. That is what I do in my monthly like programs with my students. If you want more information on that, let me know. Like I'm an idea strategist. Actually, or even with my clients, like I have clients that book with me, and our whole goal in our sessions is to help them come up with creative like ideas. I am an ideas strategist. Things come to my head. I can't use all the ideas that come to my head, but God blesses me where he just delivers them all to my brain. I love being able to help in that way. So you're always able to book, if somebody else, not you or anybody, you want to book a one-on-one, book a pro call session where we're going over strategies and you just need ideas, you feel stuck, you can always book a session where like it's like our clarity call session to help you get like unstuck. All right, let's see over here. Incredible morning, Phyllis. How art thou? Oh, wait, let me see. Am I missing anything over here? Hold on, let me make sure. Because I always forget Facebook. I have to actually go and look at the feed for Facebook. All right, keep those questions coming. You don't have to wait for me to finish one question to answer yours. Or if you just like how, Excel Media, what's my thoughts on UV printers? If you have something that you just kind of want my perspective, my input, seeing it through my lens, let me know. If it's something business wise, let me know. I told you I've been kind of a little rusty. I don't do this every single day to really be fully connected on what y'all are doing nowadays, because some of y'all, y'all jump around with whatever someone tells you is trending. I'm kind of a I'm a what's the word I'm looking for? I'm a creature of habit. So I typically tend, like, for my like for business, for me, for us personally or professionally, I kind of stick to the same things. I don't feel the need to venture off in all these kind of different areas, but doesn't mean that I can't help you. It's about to pour down raining. Have any of you um noticed, or has it affected you, some of the changes that Canva is making? Like, in some of my spaces, people are really upset with Canva and the things that they are taking away. Have any of you guys been affected by all of the change, like, certain changes within Canva? Or is it things where, like, I mean, the things that I use, like, you might feel like the things that I use in Canva, they haven't been affected. So, like, you don't have a problem with any of the changes. It's gonna rain on your head. Don't be shy. I see y'all. I mean, I can't tell who it is, but I can see y'all numbers on here and where you're watching from. Don't be shy. I see a lot of y'all watching from Silaholics Anonymous. So if you have silhouette, are y'all still okay? So are those who are watching from Silaholics Anonymous? Do y'all still use silhouette machines, or are you on it just because that's where you were first introduced to me, but now you're like, I'm not really using my silhouette because I'm not cutting vinyl. I'm using UV stickers. I'm using DTF. I'm using sublimation. I haven't touched that machine in forever and a day. Like, are y'all still using silhouette? Have y'all updated to version V5? Are you, ooh, why didn't somebody had the white stuff on my mouth? Have you updated to version V5? Are you still on version 4? Like, talk to me about what's going on with y'all with Silhouette Studio and your Cameo machines and all of that kind of good jazz. Mm, I have moved to version 5 and I've noticed that it is slow and prone to crashes. Man, it's still crashing? Wow. Let me see, because I haven't even looked like what version are they on right now. www.silhouetteamerica.com. Dot com. Ow. Okay, so let's see. What version are they up to now? So it is version 5.0.523. If I go to legacy versions, they've had 5.0.414, 402, 212, 081, 08, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So probably there's been more of this, but they have 6 here on the site, and they still, this one was released, oh, this one was just released August 18th of 2026. They just released one. I'll share this, I'll share my screen so y'all can see what they're saying the changes are. Okay, so it says Mac Universal Build now available. Stop specific SVG files from crashing. Stop a crash when opening a specific file, then opening the send panel. Like what specific file? Like is there? That's kind of crazy. Like it just says specific file. How would somebody know which specific file it is? Prevented a crash that could occur on server timeouts. Oh, there's a lot of crash fix. Dang, they're having this many crashes. Fix a potential crash on launch if disconnected from the internet. Oh wow. Damn. Prevented a crash for specific Studio 3 and AI files. Updated the titles of the design store carousel on the home screen. Added missing language strings. Fixed Japanese translation. So design. Stopped exported PNGs from Silhouette Studio importing larger than originally exported. Stop the orientation from automatically changing when the height is set under 20 millimeters. Orientation should no longer change when the height is lower than the width. Change Curio to emboss matte name to emboss matte. Resolved an issue in which resolved an issue which would prevent users from adjusting the smoothing for the smooth freehand tool. Fix an import issue which could occur while importing a PDF from CAD. You can now edit DPI settings when importing AI files set as an image. Fixed transparency issues with certain SVG files. Updated the margins of the cut border for the left and right edges from 5 millimeters to 4.8 millimeters when using the Cameo Pro model, with using either Cameo Pro model. Added the following firmwares. Updated. Which machine do you have? Because you're using V5. What machine do you have? Um, you're welcome. Have a great day. Thank you so much for tapping in. I appreciate it. I appreciate your engagement and your question. So I couldn't be of more help to really get it like dialed in, but hopefully, you'll um uh what's what I'm saying? um Dang it. You'll be able to um adjust the image a little bit to get it where you want it, okay? Oh, you have a Cameo 5 Alpha. Yes, so you have to be on 5. Do I print the color chart on a regular printer or so let me come back. real quick. Any printer that you use, you, what the world? Hold on. Whatever. I don't know why this is showing. Oh, come on. There we go. Okay. Any printer I have from, like, if you have a Canon printer, these are printed from a Canon printer. If you have an Epson printer, if you print to glossy photo paper, print the color charts on it. If you print to matte photo paper, print the color charts on it. If you print to sticker sheets, print the color chart on it. If you are doing sublimation, I have it on a hard substrate. I chose to use a tumbler because you can fit all of it on there. You need to also press it to fabric, whether you do a shirt or I just had it. Where did you go? Oh my. And see, my husband's always saying, like, throw stuff away. You're a hoarder. But I'm like, man, I be teaching. I be needing stuff. And I just saw it, man. Oh my God. It's on a felt. Like, I've had sessions and classes and stuff like that. And I highly recommend getting felt. All felt is polyester. Polyester is nothing more than recycled plastic bottles. So yours may not say polyester. It may say, oh, here it is right here. Made from polyester, made from plastic bottles. That's polyester. That's synthetic. So you want to print to, it's dirty, don't mind it. You can print to this. I have, what's those things called? I have glitter vinyl that I have my color charts printed to because I do a lot of, like this right here. This is sublimation to glitter vinyl. Come on. And you can do paper. Come on. So I have my color charts printed out and sub. You have to also sub. So you print it out to regular paper and you sublimate it to the felt, the glitter, the tumbler, because you need to see it once it's in its final state. Remember, with sublimation, it's not in its final state until you press it. But I said the other ones, like on the regular paper, for anyone that's watching that has regular printers. If you've never printed out color charts, I highly recommend that you use the link or go straight to our website. You purchase the color charts, you download them, and you print them out on whatever settings. If you use matte standard, if you use matte high, if you use glossy, if you use semi-gloss, whatever your settings are, use them and print them out. And you may want to write somewhere like what that setting is just so that you know. Okay? Let me just go back to this real quick. So they had a bunch of bugs. I want to see what else. Stops Cameo machine from being shown as unknown. Resolved an issue which caused the Cameo Pro to cut a maximum width of 596 millimeters. Update firmware. The cut border does not narrow when you set to landscape. Cut job. Man, they had a lot of issues with this. Let me see. Now, before this, with the previous version was released. Oh wow, they figured out a lot of stuff because the previous version before this was released November 17th, 2025. So if you're having issues with it, I mean, it looks like they fixed a lot, maybe from people complaining. So their last update from August 18th, which is 5.0.523, looks like it addresses a lot of issues. So you may want to try updating to that version to see if that fixes any of your issues. I don't use V5 because I don't have a Cameo Pro or Cameo 5, whatever one you have to have V5. I have Cameo 4s and below, so I can use the older versions. Yes, you need to print all of it. Like I said, they're set up to where they are already in individual pages set up for 8.5 by 11. You can always take it and shrink it down if you don't want it to print this big. But there's also one. So, and then with these, you'll see these. This gives you different color ranges, but there are no color codes. With these, you have to have them open on your screen, and you have to have a program that has a dropper, like a color picker, and you're going to move that eyedropper. You're on here like, okay, I want row 24 3. I want that. So you're going to open that up. You're going to go to where it's like 24 and 3. You're going to sample that. And once you sample it, it's going to then tell you what that hex code is. And then you can write that down, use it, whoever, whatever. That's how you use these. But this will give you different shades, especially if you want to do gradients. This is a great one to use because you can see the different colors to create your gradients. But you can either print them individually, but there is one that has all of the color charts all on one. Now, this isn't on there because this was something that I needed based off of schools that I work with. I needed their colors. So you may not see this, but it'll have all of these all in one. So you can print that by itself as well. Just know that the codes will be really small. So when I do these live videos, I was just explaining to someone like how I do them. I just kind of wait. This isn't like a podcast and where there's a lesson. I do these to be able to help someone. I got to a point where I stopped saving them as well. I'm gonna just kind of stay on because maybe somebody will come on where they have a question, like they need my help. The algorithm, or they just got a notification that I was live, so I kind of stay on. There's going to be silence. So if you're on now, and you're just like, okay, why is she just sitting there? I'm just waiting for the next question to come in. I'm gonna go get my drink. But as you're coming in, if you are someone that has a question, go ahead and drop it in the chat. Or if you want my perspective, to kind of experience something through my lens, and you want my perspective on a certain subject or topic or whatever, as it relates to your creative endeavors, it relates to business or programs or systems or whoever, whatever, feel free. If it's based off of a business philosophy and you're like, hey, do I agree with this, or do you not agree with this, feel free to put it in the chat. I'm gonna go get my drink and I will be right back. Okay. Oh wait, it's running much faster. Okay, okay, okay. Cool, schools. Okay. I feel myself starting to do trends again instead of staying true to what I do or questioning what I do because of a sale. What do you think I should do? Times are hard, so I do need sales. So when you say doing trends, I'm not going to say trends are always like bad if they make sense for what you're doing. So give me a little bit more context on what trends have you found yourself doing? Are these things that your clients are asking you for? Are you doing it just because you see it in groups, so you want to make them and then just kind of put it out there to see if you can get sales? Yeah, just give me a little bit more tooth to it to figure out what's going on here. Baby, them eyebrows cute. Ooh, yeah, yeah, good job on them, child. I use some of that chicken biscuit. Okay. Yeah, it's more of what I'm seeing online in groups. Tell me what though. I need a specific thing because it may not be that like it's a bad thing in doing it. It may just be your maybe your approach and like how you're marketing it to make it work for you is where we need to make adjustments. Hold on. I don't want to dig in my teeth online. Hold on. Okay. Had to get that biscuit from the chicken biscuit. Wish I had a piece of floss. That was hard because I ain't even got no nails. So trying to get in there. Get in there. Yeah, yeah. Get in there. Okay. So that's something that you could. There is a young lady that I just recently saw on TikTok where she was doing a lot of the like fan signs for sports, and it's on phone board, keeping it really simple. Whether you're doing a big circle for like whether it's baseball or softball, basketball, doing the shape for football. They were doing megaphones for cheer. When it comes to competition season, it might be cutting the mascot head. Foam board is really it's easier to cut. A lot of the times they don't need it to be long lasting. They may only want it for championship or competition. So they're looking for something that's not too expensive. Some people like they want to use coroplast, but if they're hand cutting it, they want to charge more because coroplast is harder to cut. So, people tend to charge more. But foam board, you have that, you get you a little stick. You can decide if you want to paint it, or you may want to tell them, hey, you can wrap this. You don't have to be the one to wrap it in ribbon to give it color. You just let them know that, hey, this is an option and they want to pay you to wrap it, but you don't have to make that a standard option. So something like that is not, and especially in what you do, that's not a bad thing. It's just about how you're going to market it, what type of designs. So where involving like getting too deep into the trend, like not say the trend of it, but like where it can get kind of rocky and kind of messy is trying to do all these different designs. Like being okay with every single customer, every single client doesn't have to have a super customized, like this is just for you. It's a one of a kind design. If it's the football and it's like their picture is to the right or to the left. Well, I guess when you're looking, when I'm trying to picture it, I guess technically for me, like if you're facing this way, it would be to the right. But just whatever side you picture, name, number. If it's like the park, you may want to put the park logo or whatever. You don't have to do all the splatter. Like you keep it real simple, real basic. I mean, you might, excuse me, fade out the bottom unless you have them coming out like the bottom of the their legs are cut off by the bottom of the ball. The parents like, well, I want to see their full body. Hey, they're just gonna be small on this compared to me blowing it up where you can see their face and their chest and stuff like that. They're just gonna be small. That's what you're doing. You go, you print. You don't have to print it out yourself. You can outsource these prints. I'm not a big fan of the ones like from CVS, all those, because it's matte. It's not. I think they are water resistant because it was raining when I did one for my sister did one for a prom send off and it didn't run. So I do believe the paper is water resistant. Or they might be using pigment ink, but it's not shiny. It's not glossy. So you may want to outsource that as far as getting your prints from somewhere local. I mean, for those signs, we do prints up to 18 inches wide. The height can be whatever, but it's up to 18 inches wide if you want to order your prints through us. We print it through our Roland. Or you can find somewhere local that you're able to get your prints and stuff done. That way you don't have to do like a bunch of them and try and get a bunch of them up without having to pay like a lot in shipping, like shipping them individually or whatever. Find someone local. And you're just putting them on the phone board. Whether it's the like going online to find quality ones on Amazon, or if you're getting the heavy duty ones from Walmart. Would I recommend putting it on the ones from Dollar Tree? Absolutely not. To save $1 or $2, to me, it's not worth it for the quality. Those boards are cheapy. It's not worth it. Like those are now $1.25. The ones at Walmart are like $1.82, $2.15. It will serve you better to go and just get the ones from Walmart. Are they a little bit harder to cut? Like, it takes a little bit more work, yes, but it feels sturdier. It feels like better quality. So you're just gonna get that. So I wouldn't say that that's a bad thing. You just have to make sure that you're marketing it. Sometimes it's not the items that you're choosing that you're making, it's that you are not doing a great job of marketing it. Look at me. I have the best sublimation paper on the planet. Like no one is touching it. 365 degrees, 30 seconds, getting it done faster, more efficiently. No butcher paper required. We're not doing a whole lot of pressure where stuff is bleeding through. Like I have the best, but I don't market all, and I've kind of abandoned that. I'm just like, okay, hey, whoever knows about it, whatever they order. And I'm letting all these other people get the sales. Like I'm tired of making things. I literally had, I don't even feel like pulling these. Like it's so many tumblers back there. I have rags, all these things from where I was just doing demos and stuff is just everywhere. So I haven't done a really great job of marketing it. If you're not marketing it, no one's going to know about it. If you're putting too much on yourself where you're trying to do too many designs, it's going to become overwhelming. Do the trend, make the money, keep it real simple. Everybody have the same thing. Only thing that's changing is your baby picture and the school, like the park name or whatever. You want something that's totally different? Y'all know, if you're a student of mine, you know you better not be designing anything custom and not charging a design fee. And I mean a significant, pretty, we ain't talking no $5, $10 design fee. You better be charging for your designs. But that's not a bad trend, my dear. And to me, that's not even a trend. That's something like what I don't really, I don't really rock with like that is like the Easter vending machines. Too much work, too many sides to cover. Unless you're just someone, you're putting it together, you're only covering the front maybe. That's team too much and too much work, whatever, to do all of that. Some of the 3D foam creations and cutting off, like it's just team too much. But ones that are like classic to me, if you learn how like to cut anything cutout wise, whether it's for a centerpiece, like the big signs for sports, memorial ones, like I showed you guys the pictures when I made the for the repass, and that's something because it's small. I made those with sticker sheets, sticker paper, regular printer, sticker paper, put on some foam board, made a base, boom bang, just done. Working with foam board is not a bad thing. You just have to make it work for you, and you're not doing team too much. It's going to be overwhelming, and it's not going to make sense money wise. People were doing those Easter baskets. It wasn't like they were just taking and changing out a picture, changing the name. They're giving all of these like custom designs and moving things around. Like each individual one, it's getting this special attention. That's not worth it. Mm, mm-mm. I'll show you. That I think I just swallowed a lemon seed. Let's go to my page. Let's go to photos. Let's go back here. Let's go back here. Um, these right here. They ain't nothing but a little foam board, little sticker sheet. Even the bottom part for the solid color. That's a little sticker sheet. Flooded it with some color, cut it out. Got me a little base for a little centerpiece. And it's foam board. Y'all, foam board for me is something that's timeless. That's classic. I'm gonna always work with foam board. It's just about how you're using it. This was way back in June. Oh, look here. Actually, here's my sign. This is foam board. I designed it. I printed. This was one where I did, I leveraged AI because her son really wanted to be in the uniform, and it gave me like the little card, whatever. So I leveraged AI for like him and this part. I think I end up having it create the name. Like I did these all individually. And then the stats, I forget how we did the stats, but I put it all together. So this was the yard sign. And then this wasn't necessarily sports. This was a sign, and this is double sided. She orders one for me every single year. She has been ordering it since he was like in pre-K ish, whatever. So this would be I did one when he graduated pre-K, kindergarten, and this one was graduating from first, going into second. So this would be the third one. It's front and back. She wants people to see it from both sides. She's very extra, and it's just a circle. I cut it out, keep it moving. So it's not that you just have to market it correctly. I'm trying to see. Did I have anything else that was foam board recently? No. Well, this one, but I was just talking about the different cuts. Yeah. And even if you do, so here's the thing too, right? You want to know the cost of making a large one, right? So, how much is that foam board going to cost you? How much is that print going to cost you? If you are, if you're going to put it onto the foam board yourself, then you want to use kind of the thicker ones. If you use the thinner ones, unless it's like mass, you don't want to get like the bubbles. Because I use a cold laminator, so I can use really thin vinyl because I get even pressure all the way across because I'm using a cold laminator. If you're using like the big squeegee and you have like the transfer paper on top and stuff like that, so there's a science of maybe sometimes getting it on there. You want to just know, like I said, what that cost is. You have some companies where they will print it for you. They will mount it to the foam board for you. What they won't do is cut it. All you would have to do is just cut the foam board yourself, right? So you can do it that way, but you need to know exactly what that cost is going to be. But for prototyping, you bet not, okay? Because you one of my students. You better work smarter, not smarter, not harder. You bet not go and just be doing a bunch of prototypes where they are humongous and wasting ink. You can do it small. Create the design, max it out, whatever. So if you can print 11 by 17, even if you're printing to photo paper, go get you some glue. Y'all know when it comes, I love a good liquid glue. What we gonna, okay, let's see how well y'all know me. When it comes to liquid glue, what am I using? What am I using when it comes to liquid glue? I know it's been a little minute since I've been on here, but I used to talk about it quite often. Let's see who's an OG. Who an OG in these streets and knows what I use when it comes to liquid glue? Hello, incredible greetings. Welcome. Thank you for tapping in all the way from Jersey. I know it's a little bit of a delay, so I'm going to give it a little second, but if not, I'm going to go ahead and say it. Can't believe y'all don't remember. I know it's been a little minute. Paintbrushes. I'm not just squirting it on there and just kind of taking it and using the tip of the nozzle. I'm going to, it's certain glues I use that's like, but I'm going to use a paintbrush. Whether you're going to use the roller one or you're going to just use a paintbrush and you're going to spread that on to where you're not getting it where it's all bubbling all up. It's not going to take too long to like dry. And then you're going to put that on there. So you can even use regular photo paper or whoever. Or you can use the 8.5 by 11 sticker sheets. You're going to put that on a piece of foam board. You're going to cut it. You're going to go ahead and put a stick on it. When you go, you're going to take a picture. A lot of times people can't tell the scale of things in T-Way. You can blow it up and make it look humongous. They just need to see the thing. It doesn't need to be where you are holding it up in your hand next to your head for them to see how big it is. They need to know that it's a circle, it has a stick to it. They need to see that I can take an A and cut it from foam board, there's a stick to it. There's a handle to it. Y'all do not have to make your prototypes or your sample pieces, your marketing pieces from you don't have to make it to scale. You can take a foam board and maybe make 3 or 4 different prototype pieces and just take pictures of them and market them, and you're gonna let them know how they say, maybe larger or whatever, or it's like this is not to scale. The standard size will be up to 18 inches wide, up to 24 inches wide or long, or whatever your standards are. One foam board should be able to allow you to try out different designs. I'm going to do one that's a pom pom, that's a football, that's a megaphone, that's in the, y'all's one's what, pirate? No, y'all not pirate. What's y'all thing? Buccaneers, is it? I don't know. Whatever it is, you're going to do one that you still going to put a stick to it. You're going to still say that, like, okay, this is the prototype one, but it can be a fat head. We can make it much larger. And you may have some people that want it as the same way like the handheld fans. If it's going to be hot during these games, I don't know why we only do fans for graduation. Y'all should be making these fans for these sporting events that are outside. They're cheering their baby on, but also staying cool. Y'all have the skills, but we see it done one way by somebody in a group, and we think that we're locked into this box, and that's the only way that we can utilize that thing, and that's not the case. Whatever your audience comes to you for, how can you now make this thing that's popular in this group? Hey, I like it. I kind of want to try that out. How can I make that work for my business and for my audience? It hurts my heart to not see people make fans outside of grad season. I make memorial ones. I make them for baby showers. For people who want to play like games and things like that. I've made them for that. I've made them for sporting things. I've made them for senior nights for the parents that have in the stands for either whether it's football, volleyball, basketball. Like use them for other things. You're the creative. You give your audience a different way of thinking about it. Tell them instead of some chip bags that's going to get ruined or whatever, it's probably going to be the same amount. If it's some folks of a particular age, them women probably in that baby shower, the air conditioner is piping, it's cold in there. But for them, they going through the change. If you know you going to have some folks of a particular age at your baby shower, them folks don't give a damn about no darn chip bags and Rice Krispie treats and well, maybe the water bottles. But they don't care about all that other crap. Get them folks a customized fan. They going to represent the party. They going to be in there cute. But at the same time, baby, I'm not going to be in here burning up. They not going to be like the lady who, the video that went viral. She in the stands, her head just a smoking. But y'all don't think to make these things for all of these occasions. You see people make it pop and they're doing it for grad season and you stop right there. You think there's no market for it if it's for a baby shower or a birthday party. These birthday parties that people are having outside, y'all need to be marketing to them. Get you some custom fans for the birthday party. Damn them chip bags. Them kids gonna rip that crap open and it's gonna go in the garbage. But a little custom fan, they might be able to reuse that. They sit somewhere it's hot, they gonna go ahead and be using, Major's fan. They're gonna be using the fan from Zion Imani's birthday party. Why y'all feel like y'all have to be stuck in the way that y'all make these things? I don't do the clack fans. I don't really do the clack fans like that. I didn't really. One of them things are annoying as hell. But let me see. I've been trying to make those clack fans. It's not coming out right. I was asked to make some for a women's conference, but I have not got it right. So what's not happening when it comes to the clack fans? What's not coming out right? Is it the sizing? Is it how you're putting them down? Are they not clacking? Like what's not coming out right? Maybe we can troubleshoot through that part. Oh my MG, I thought you were talking about a brand. Yes, I do my fans like that. Okay. Oh yes, I was going to do the prototypes. With that, I have the in-house for now and see if I can get some bites. Yeah, the bucks. Okay. I just love your honesty. That's why my business is called Honestly Speaking. That's why we named the brand that. That's why it's Honestly Speaking. If you didn't know, you don't say, because some people will say Spin King. I've heard y'all say our brand name 1,001 different ways. I don't know where the paper went, but honestly speaking is what this is, how you're supposed to read this. Yeah, try a different one. Like the now I have some memorial ones somewhere. I don't know where the box is. I don't know where the box is. That have I have a birthday one in there. I have a memorial one. I have one, the ones from even my baby shower where it was like for this game. But these are different sizes. This is a real big oversized one, and then these are considered smalls. And then there's a one that's like in between these two. Is that it right there? No, that's not it. I thought that was the memorial ones. Those aren't it. But yeah, so you can either do, I mean, they can have these, but if they're wanting it for a noise maker, they will need it to be like a clack one or whatever. But if it's just for show and just for, they could use these. Now, here's the thing. With the clack fans, right? A standard printer is not going to give you enough clearance for the fans. You typically have to tape more than one together for it. Sometimes, like, I mean, depending on which fan you have, you can barely get it on there, like within the margins. But you have to stretch it all the way out, like to the top margin, to the bottom margin. And you may end up with a little bit on the bottom. So what some people will do is they'll just print out a strip of color and they'll just put that in that area because it's going to end up behind or like taped to the sticks anyway. But your standard 13-inch printer technically does not give you enough clearance to fully cover it, right? That's number one. Where are you designing it at? Where I saw people have the most trouble is with Canva and not knowing how to properly size and not having the right sizing, especially, and then especially when they go to print it out, and or someone made it the so-called right size and they had the template go all the way to the edge. So now when someone goes to print it and they either go fit to page or whatever, it's shrinking it down some. Now it doesn't quite fit because they did not make the template properly. There can be a number of things, which is why I tell y'all, you gotta join my creative lounge. This is where we iron all of that out. The creative lounge, you come to a live Zoom, you bring your exact issue, you're going to share your screen, we're going to fix the issue on your screen. It's not a situation where I'm going to fix it on my side and now you got to go and figure it out on yours. If you come with that question, you are going to walk away with the solution that night, especially if it's something in the design arena. Because I'm going to have you share your screen. I'm going to select remote control where I can help you through it. I'm going to talk you through it. We're going to look at the size. You're going to measure your stuff. We're going to set all this stuff up. When it's all said and done, you're going to be able to print this out and have it work. But y'all don't want to join my creative lounge. I mean, y'all don't really want, I mean, I don't think y'all really want real help. I think y'all like the appearance of wanting to do well for your business or your crafting, but you don't really want it because Creative Lounge has always been available for you to have access to that level of help. You name me one coach, professor, mentor, guru who does that where They have sessions and they're helping you specifically in real time on a design that's on your computer, and you actually walk away where it's not, now I have, they told me, they showed it, now I still have to go figure it out. No, that's not what happens in our lounge. That's not what happens in our lounge. Okay, so 300, I would never recommend that you do 300. That's the other thing. These things sound great, but when you have a single printer, you're not printing large format, you have one heat press and not a large one, 300 is a lot. I would never even advise you to make 300 of these. When it comes to a number that large, people expect wholesale. They expect a discount. And as they should. For 300, because some people say, oh, they'll pay the same amount that they pay for one. Now, when we're talking 10, 15, yeah, you go into the store. But for 300 of something, that's when you're now expecting, and it's an interesting to have a wholesale type pricing. That is something that you definitely don't want to try and do in-house without the proper equipment. It will take, you will end up spending all of your time doing that particular order. And if you are not charging the regular rate, and because you have to give a discount because they're doing so much, your work, your labor remains the same. So you're going to be working overtime. You can't take on other orders to be able to offset it and be able to make. You're going to be tied to this order trying to do 300 of these larger things yourself. Now, if it was something small like keychains, whatever, um, luggage tags, even certain things that are small, maybe even like let's say it was some cups with like UV. Now, would I do 300 mugs? Probably not. I'm probably going to outsource that too. I've done like 100 because I can go and put them on, like when it comes to information, because I don't have that many wraps, like I still have to wrap them. I put them in an oven. I can do 25 mugs. So if I had to do 100, that's like 4 different runs, like 4 different batches. But I still would have to wrap all those. Would I want to go and do that and have to sit there, spend days and days wrapping stuff? Absolutely not. I'm not going to take that on. I'm going to outsource it. I'm just going to make my money on the back end. When you're outsourcing things like that, do you make as much money? No. But you also don't have to do as much work. So while the outsource company is doing it, even if you're only making $50, $100 off of it, once you add your kind of add, pad it a little bit for you, you're now free to work on another order. You're getting money in times two because somebody's working on that. It comes in, you're going to do quality check, you're going to package it all up, make sure they go and get it, but you're not able to work on another order. Something for 300, I'm never going to advise a smaller business unless it's like your jump start to start doing, like, that, okay, I want to, so now I'm going to do this. I already had the money. I was just waiting for a larger, well, I still, the first time, I still wouldn't do it. If it was the first order, I wouldn't. Maybe like order 4 or 5, and those orders had to come in pretty close together. If it was like, okay, in January I got an order for 300, then it was like the next one came in May, the next one didn't come to December, and then my fourth one came in February 2027. To me, that doesn't justify you now getting the equipment to do the larger orders. They weren't coming in back to back to back to back, where now it's like, okay, this is a norm for me. I need to figure out my space. I need to invest in a bigger printer. I need to be, if it's something that has to be pressed, I need to make sure I either have a double heat press so I can go and put heat press in multiple areas. If it's something for mugs, okay, let me make sure I have wraps and things of that nature so that I can do higher volume. Now you're preparing your smaller business to handle that. This is the type of equipment that these larger companies will have. They'll probably have like slightly like different things. Sometimes you don't want to do summation on it. You may want a company that has UV printing that can rotate and things like that. They're just going to print directly to it. There's no doing the extra step. Even for fans, I wouldn't recommend doing 300. I thought you just meant like a little few. 300 is a lot. I wouldn't recommend that you try and do 300. Even if you knew how to do it and you were a master at it, I would not recommend doing 300 clack fans. I outsource wedding fans when a client wanted 150 fans. Yeah. And you're able to still make money. You need to be charging for your design. Even if you don't, like, let's say you have a design, you have to set it up for it to be printed correctly and size it correctly. So you can charge just the design fee. I mean, just the setup fee. When I'm doing stuff like that, there's a design fee, there's a setup fee, there's a production fee. Like, it's not all just like there's things that go into pricing, which is what I teach in pricing for profit. I don't do this whole times three. Like there's strategy, there's methods to it to make sure that you are not on the losing end at the end of the day. So you have to price it properly. Even if you're outsourcing, there's a way for you to make money. Like I said, are you going to be making all of the money? Yeah, in your mind, it's like, oh, well, I don't want to just have $50 hit my bank account. Like, if I do this myself, it's going to be $250. Well, for that 200, you're now going to be tied down for how many days? You divide that by all those hours. Was that worth it? By the time you go and you figure out, okay, just because, okay, yeah, it's $200 in my account, 200 extra dollars compared to just 50, but then you go and it took you 200 hours to do it. That's an exaggeration. You made 100. You made $1 an hour. Who the hell wants to work for $1 an hour? And that's not even including business overhead. So yeah, I know, and that's why I do this. I do these for the ones that are still learning. I invite you guys to join our creative lounge and different offerings that we have where you can connect via Zoom and you can actually verbalize it because it's such a better, a such more enjoyable experience when you're able to like unmute and like the response is kind of instantaneous versus okay, I say something, I have to wait for you to type it, especially if it's something long. It's a much better like experience if you need to see something, like we're able to do like examples, things of that nature. um hey, 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 incredible greetings, welcome in, welcome in. Feel free to drop any question, comment, concern, any topic that you want to kind of hear my point of view and hear from my lens and whatnot. Feel free to drop it in the chat. I'm not committed yet. I was asked a couple of days ago and I told them I'll get back to them by Friday. You are so right. It's just me. You help me make a decision. The answer will be no. The answer does not have to be no. I would say take some time if you're able to do it today. Like it may take when you don't know anything about like trying to research and find companies that can do it for you, you can still explore other options because it may be easier for you to find a company that can make some fans for you, even if it's like the church like fans. And that way it can have certain information on the front, the back about like whatever their organization is. And it's more of the church like fans. Maybe that will work for them. That's easier to outsource than the clack fans, which have a full on like design on it. Um, so yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say no. I would ask them, what other options would they be interested in, and then maybe try and find someone to outsource those two, and not outsource to another crafter. I'm sorry. How do I join the Creative Lounge? I am so glad you asked. I'm gonna drop the link. I did take we had took a break for a while. As long as y'all are active, I'm there. I show up, especially for the summer. I spent time with the kids. But as I told them, I'm gonna be dropping some pre-recorded things as we, go back to like the live sessions, and I figure out what session, like what time frame works best for you guys. But I just dropped the link. I'm going to I'm going to show you guys. Whoa, shoot. My phone just flew across the. Okay. Um, there we go. So because there are certain things in there already and that you have access to, like just months and months and like all types of content, the first month is 45.63, but each month after that is just 25.63. We do live sessions. You have more access to me as far as being able to inbox, even if it's an inbox. Like I'm going to give priority to those who are in Creative Lounge where I actually entertain your inboxes. I've made posts. Let me see. I think it says it on. Hold on. If you go here, it's literally pinned since 2024. While I do not mind helping and answering your specific questions on design file, printer troubles, craft project, unspeak salvation paper, I no longer answer questions via my personal inbox. You have to either post a question in one of my groups or book a one-on-one session for like a quick help session. Technically, the loungers do get preferential treatment where I will answer those. I always kind of go and check and see if you're someone that's in the lounge. There's a couple of people who are like Aquisha, they'll let you know. Like, yeah, I've helped them several times in the inbox. But we no longer provide that help. So whether you are booking a one-on-one session with me starts at $53.65. So you can pay $53.65 to have a simple one-on-one, or you join the lounge to where you get access to all of the different lessons and you can watch them as much as you need to. And then you get several live trainings every single month. I think $25 is a better deal. um, if you want to just try it month to month, like just want to try it out for 1 month, it's $36.50. If you want to do it for a quarterly, it's $83.65. You can do 1 year for $25.63. Like, so all these things are here. So you can choose how you want to try it out. I thought we put the 7-day trial on here for $15.63. Maybe that's on the other one. I thought that one was on here though, the 7-day trial for $15.63. I'll if not, I don't know where that's at. I'll put it back on there. But we did have a 7-day, and it's not a free trial. It's just a less expensive trial. So it was $15.63 to try it out for 7 days. She says that she does, and we'll make a video to explain it if you don't understand. Exactly. Oh, let me put it here. Anyone else? So my goal is to stay on Zadimon. It's Wednesday. He gets out of school at 1:50. So my goal is to kind of stay on for like another like 20, 25 minutes or so. I normally go to the school and leave out of here around like 1:35, 1:40, somewhere in there is where I start to prep. So remember, I'm not just sit there watching TV. So hopefully y'all have questions. If not, y'all just sit here and watch me drink the rest of my tea. But I'm, more than willing to answer any questions that you guys have for the next technically 30 minutes. I don't know if y'all been burned by folk or feel like people make you feel silly or dumb in the questions that you ask. That's not how we do it over here. I'm gonna keep it real with you. I can be very real and wrong, not in like cuss or anything like that. But my business is called Honestly Speaking for a reason. If it's something that just doesn't make sense, I'll say it, but I'll support it. I'll give supporting context to why something doesn't make sense for me. But hey, I'm like, if there's something that you want to do, I'll help you work through that if you're adamant on doing it. But you have someone that has over 2 decades of experience. Everything from, I mean, I was an operations manager. I worked in, I was a Air Force vet. I worked for I worked at, what's this place called? Florida Memorial in the activities department. I've worked for the different, both major sports arenas here in Miami, being a supervisor in a supervisory role, dealing with contracts, dealing with money and inventory and all the things, all things marketing, branding. I'm a Shopify partner. I've I don't say sampled. I've tried out different websites just to kind of see how they are. Everything from PayHip to Etsy um to what's the other one? Gumroad and Beacon, to doing it through Canva, Photoshop, of course, my thing of choice, Silhouette Studio, and the Cameo machines, doing stickers, doing party favors. I was an event planner in a former life, balloon decor, all the things. So like when there's really nothing that you can't put in that little chat box to ask me about. I mean that. Okay, I really, really mean that. Okay, so I got another question. If you happen to buy a template but want to change the colors easily, can you show that in Canva? Is that something that's still going to be available for the basic plan? Okay, so it depends on what it is. So we have to remember that if it's something that's not a solid color where it was vector, as you change the color, it's like using blend modes and it's not going to be quite the same. And you can't really pinpoint colors if it's like changing a color in a JPEG. But if it's a vector one, yes, you'll still be able. I haven't seen, because I go back and forth between my dummy account for Canva, with my free one, and the paid one. Like when I'm just trying to, that's how I was exploring all these different changes that they had, and I didn't see any difference in that in being able to change colors and not, like on the free version of it. So in Canva, you can't make something a frame, like just anything a frame. You have to, they have apps that, like third party apps within it, and some of them you have to pay for. Some of them it's like basic things. It's not like just any shape. And then like it will be like the whole thing. So let's say if it was a butterfly, right? And you wanted to have the outline be, a frame because you want to maybe make that like a black glitter or purple glitter. But then all of like the little wing parts you wanted to be able to put individual, like glitters or different things and or gradients, whatever, inside of those, like the sections of the wing. That is not something that you would be able to do in Canva with any of the plugins. You would have to go through an outside program to set that up, do all the things to make it a frame, save it, open it back up in Canva where each part would be a separate frame. So it just depends on what it is you're trying to create. So see there, well, there's this one that says AI frames, and so this one says describe it. And then, so this is not even anything within Canva itself. This is a third party, and it says upgrade to AI Frames Pro for enhanced frame accuracy and additional features, which means something may not be, accurate. And let me see. So they have gallery, and these are typically, just solid frames. I mean, there's some shape to it, but nothing too crazy where it's doing inner contours. You used to be able just to hit the thing to go back. I hate the fact that it's gonna make me go all the way back to apps. Okay, there it is. And then frame maker, these again are solid shapes because you have to be able to fit within. I mean, not solid, but like it's still solid shapes, but like it's straight angles and stuff because you got to be able to fit within those dots. So then you have frame labs. So this is shape, burst, grid, arc, diagonal, and then you change dimensions, but it's not, just anything. Um, so there are apps for certain things. And then this one was image to frame. So this is the one where, and so, oh wait, let me move my head because I want y'all to see what that says. Hold on. So try image to frame pro, restart image to frame, I guess, like so that you can use it because it's like there's a free trial for it. So you can see here where it's taking a butterfly, but it's just doing the outline of it. It's not going to separate the sections. So that's kind of how their frame things work. You just have to find what works for you, or um, learn how to do it in an outside program. Which Silhouette Studio, knowing how to use that definitely comes in handy. It makes the process so much easier. There is my warning to be like, yo, don't forget, today is a Wednesday pickup. Alrighty. Anyone else? Okay. Why didn't I get a notification you were live? I don't know, Shayla. I've been live for 2 hours and 5 minutes now. I don't know why it was not letting you know. But yep, I have been live for 2 hours and 5 minutes. The notification, like, yeah, that's why I was just telling in one of the classes I was teaching, like you can't rely on the algorithm. Like it pushes who it wants to push. I guess I don't garner enough engagement for it to really push everything that I put out. Whereas with us, like if you're doing Dalton and Sacco and you're talking anything about that, that's why I did kind of put it in the comment, like in the title of it, whatever. You're doing any of that stuff, like man, people are getting crazy views and engagements and stuff like that. I guess they figure y'all don't engage with my stuff enough to let y'all know that I'm live. You got a question for me before we hop off of here? I have about uh technically like 15 more minutes that I will be on because I picked Zani Mani up at 1:50. And school only like 3 minutes away. Oh, you did. You said, can I show that in Canva? Okay, I thought you were just asking the question. Hold on. All right, so let me go back to this. I'm glad I went back and read that because I read that first part wrong. Okay, so I'm going to go to elements and I'm going to go to graphics. I'm going to type in, actually, you know what? I'm not even going to put in graphics. I'm just going to go to elements and I'm going to type in, I don't know why, butterflies are on my mind, right? So butterfly. And so I'm going to click on, so this one says graphics. Although it's Although it says graphic, I can tell by the number of colors. This is more like a JPEG, PNG type. This is not an SVG. It has too many colors going on here. If you look up here, it doesn't pick up this darker one. They have like a purple, a light purple, and then like this pinkish, peachish type color. But if I go here, this is a vector, basically SVG. You have the dark pink, the light pink, the dark orange, and then the lighter orange. This is one to where if you click on this and you change it, that color is going to change. Like it's going to be solid, it's going to change it because it is a vector graphic. This one, however, if you go and change one of these colors, it's going to be like, and it's changing in multiple areas. It's going to be a mix of colors. It's not going to change just where, there, it's not a pinpoint of a color. It's not spot colored. Whereas this one, it is. So I can go and I can change this to teal. Now, what I cannot do is take this area and fill it in with glitter because it's not a frame. Now, if this was in Silhouette Studio, I would be able to fill that area with glitter. Canva, not so much. Hopefully that makes sense. How often do I go live? I no longer go live a whole lot anymore. It's kind of a catch me when you can. Uh, it wasn't, I'm not going to say that, but I used to go live every day, multiple times a day. Now, it's sporadic. I don't necessarily schedule them. I schedule my live sessions within my different programs. We have several of them. We have one for business. We have the Creative Lounge. I have several classes. That's actually we have our anniversary for Silhaholics, not Silhaholics Anonymous. For honestly speaking, coming up, we have a sublimation boot camp that's coming up. If you've ever purchased like paper from us before, if you end up purchasing paper during the anniversary promo, you'll be able to attend that sublimation kind of seminar and summit. A lot of our classes are going to be on sale, so be on the lookout for that. Check your emails. Uh, you may not get notifications from us. Just remember the name. Come back and check. Shakeya Lavelle on Facebook or 365 Creative Academy on Facebook. I'll try to remember to post it on Instagram. I'm not really good in remembering to post on Instagram. On YouTube, Silhaholics Anonymous, Honestly Speaking, 365 Creative Academy. I will be posting on all of those information about the discounts, okay? For the classes and the link for the Summation Bootcamp when you purchase paper. But sorry, you have me here. You got a question. You have 12 minutes. If you have a question, don't wait for the next live. I always pray that I will be here, but I've had a whole heart attack on live. You never know. People are here today, going tomorrow. So I recommend getting your question answered while I'm alive and kicking because we never know. Which I pray to God that I'm always here because my children need me. But I mean, for anyone, life is not guaranteed. So while I'm here and while I'm able, I don't have a migraine, ask your question and get your answer. Thank you for the gems. I usually don't get on YouTube at this time of day, but happy I did. This was meant to be. I've been a subscriber and now have my notifications on. Awesome. And that's why I said, I'm like, if I come on here to where it's like right on time for someone, that is my goal. I wasn't worried about like, hey, if we have moments of silence, I said, I'm just going to stay on until someone asks a question. And if not, you just have to sit here and watch me in silence. So, I mean, I guess, yeah, for your first class, I've been at this for a while. I've been teaching for well over a decade. We have, I don't know, because we have some users. Let me see. I'll tell you right now, because I actually just had it open. We have some folk who have all users. There are some people that have like 75 different classes. Um, let's see. 92. Someone that has 92. Uh, 81. Um, 44. Let me see who else can I check. Aquisha has 45 classes. Some people have 8, 2 here, there, but like we have some who have taken quite a few classes with us. I've been at this for a really, really long time, even before the Academy site, but these are all the people who have classes like within the Academy site itself. So, and then there's some things like the lounge where there's multiple classes or sessions inside of that. Some people may feel like they have a lot of catching up to do, but the one thing about me is you'll hear me repeat a lot of things. I don't mind answering repeat questions, especially when we have dedicated we call them pro call days, professor calls, where you can ask all the questions that you want. But there's so much. Like I've done so many things, and there's so much information. Um, and depending on like which class, we have stuff for Memorial, we have stuff for like learning to make your own SVGs, we have pricing for profit, we have pricing therapy, we have the creative business accelerator program, we have silhouette classes, we've had Canva class, we have Photoshop classes, like it's a whole lot of foam board, print and cut, t-shirt one, sublimation, DT. There's a plethora of classes on our academy. So you were thinking you had about 50? Yeah, you got 45, ma'am. 45 classes. Well, actually, you may have more than that. Remember, that's only in the academy. You were taking classes before I officially set up the academy, when it was me sending out the PDFs with like all the stuff and like the access to like the drives. So that's the stuff that's in the academy. Oh, there won't be a replay, Shayla. Sorry. I decided like I'm not keeping these up because I'm like there's so much dead space, and I just realized people want. So I want to try and download them and maybe edit out like certain parts or whatever, but I don't be keeping the whole entire live up anymore, because it's always so much dead space. And I love each and every class. Thank you, love. Let me pick up my phone. Come pick up. That's not phone, it's your clothes. I have them folded. Oh, Lord Jesus. I do miss seeing your lives. Last call. $6 minutes left. Let's see if the algorithm sends somebody else here who needs help to catch me at the last 6 minutes. Watch, somebody's going to come and they're going to need help troubleshooting a printer or something. Or figuring out their pricing. It's going to be hard for me to do it in 5 minutes. Watch. Or we just sit here. Like I said, I committed to being on. Sometimes it does kind of suck to be on because, and others will be like, well, what's the purpose of staying on? No one's talking. Like, this one isn't meant to be a live where it's like just like it's not a podcast and just kind of having this dead air, because this was meant to be a help session and kind of a Q&A for whoever kind of comes on. It's just like making myself available to where I stay on for a certain period of time. And as people kind of trickle in and out, they're able to ask their questions. So if you're just kind of sitting on, it may not seem valuable to you because you chose not to ask a question. And we're just waiting for the next one. And that's why I don't keep them up anymore, so that you don't just kind of see like all that dead air. I'm on to help whoever is on during the time that I'm live. All teachings now take place in the academy. 4 minutes. Alrighty. Until next time, have a great one. Hold on. Continue to unlock your creativity and be incredible. Peace.